Welcome, Agent 32, Flock Camera System 1973205 Jolly 71. We're watching. Yeah, that's right. We've got a copy on the Badwolf and all the rest of these wild savages out here called private citizens. Go ahead and tap the feed. What's going on, guys? It is the Badwolf. Now, I know I didn't prompt you that I was going to go live because I didn't know I was going to go live. I was just like, I got some time on the clock. I've been out in the yard all day. My feet are tired. My knees are tired. So I was like, you know what? It's been a while since I jumped in on the live. So I'm happy you guys are here. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Hopefully everything looks good, sounds good. Once again, I'm on my restream. And let's see here if we can get some things going. I don't even have things set up. Hold on. Let's see what we got here. Let's get the chat. Okay, show chat on stream. Okay. Yes, I had to break out the Morpheus glasses. James, 2656. What's going on, good sir? Much love and respect back at you, Ray. Appreciate you. Yo, Wolf, want to do a bit unrelated, but can I use the 508c1a to receive payment for federal government contracting? Yeah, they can pay you through your 508. Absolutely. And yes, it's a little off topic, but that's okay. We can squeeze in one or two things like that. I just really wanted to talk about the whole, I don't even know, I mean, the flock sensation, the flock revolution, flock you, flock you, flock you, you're cool, and flock you. All I can tell you is that people around the nation are, and mind you, it is illegal to damage anyone's property, but they are not having it. So I want you guys to chime in and tell me how you guys feel about flock cameras, Big Brother, third-party cameras, all that kind of stuff. Tell me if you've seen one of my videos, all of my videos on flock cameras. I made like 7 this week. I tore the ass out of it. I went in and got a lot of good information, and man, oh man. All right, let me see if I can get some of this stuff set up here. Just kind of walking in. Let's see here. I think because this isn't my normal room, it doesn't have all my stuff set up. So I'm going to apologize in advance. Because let's see here. Chat, come on, there we go. There we go. All right. Once again, guys, it is your man in black. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for being here. As always, let's get some of the shameless promotions out of the way. Blacksite32.com, normal stuff, files, free documents, services to help people, consultations, all the goodies. JamesLove.com. Those are all the living in the private videos for the more advanced individuals. And other than that, we have got 2 new Facebook groups or pages, The Badwolf Unincorporated and The Badwolf Unrestricted. All right. So looks like we got some people here in the chat starting up. So let's see what on my screen it's way too tiny, so I gotta open up the other screen. All right, Ray said don't like them. Off subject, is the passport the same as they were before 2023, like the new ID? Yeah, they haven't updated anything, primarily just on the application. One or two small things have changed, but the process is still the same. The national standing is still the same. All that's the same. Badwolf, it's all to do with 15-minute cities. Yes. Yeah, yeah. I mean, really, a lot of these videos and these movies that we watch, they're telling us what they want to do. They're telling us where we're headed for. You know, they literally want us all in 15-minute cities. They want control of the resources underground. They want control of us on the ground. They want control of everything above the ground. Yeah, this flag is out of hand and invasive as fuck. Facts. Facts. You know, you know what's going on. You see the camera, but until, like I said, if you guys haven't watched my videos, I know. See, the problem with me is I'm a nerd. Okay, I'm very thorough. I want to see all of it. I don't just want to flash bang you guys with just one little piece. Like, oh, here, look at this. For me, I want you guys to like see the whole shebang bang that I seen. And when I went through and did those videos, I was like, oh my God. Somebody said I got a little bit of an echo. All right, hold on. Oh, you know what? It might be my fan. I got the fan on up here. That's probably it. All right. See if that helps a little bit, and then I'll move my mic down. Maybe do that a little bit. And like that. Okay. Um, first one I'm seeing, but love that we standing up. Okay. Well, yeah, I definitely appreciate if this is your first time seeing the live, but also let me know if you guys have seen any of my flock video series. Okay. Because if you don't mind, make sure that you guys hit that bell, like, subscribe on the way in, and make sure you're subscribed. Because apparently, people have told me that they've been unsubscribed even though they didn't want to. And hey, it wasn't me. All right. So make sure you're subscribed. If you guys can, get the newsletter from Black Site 32 as well. I only send out about 4 or 5 a year, so I do not bother you guys. But it does help when I want to send you guys information on any new channels, any new information, things that only the VIP get to see. So make sure you guys get the newsletter. And thank you to the people who've joined me over on TikTok and on Facebook on either or both of my channels. As many of you guys know, I love technology and all that stuff, but I've been very reluctant over the years to grow a following. And well, now that I look around and I'm seeing people that aren't, and I hate to say it like this because there are some very great people out there. I think the work I've done is very unprecedented. But when I see people out there with 50, 100,000 subscribers and they're not nearly as educated or as good as I am and how I'm moving, I'm like, well, shit, so join me over on some of those channels. I know I'm a little late to the party, but once again, I always look at it like I don't want to bother you guys. But then again, I guess I'm not bothering you. I'm giving you what you need and what you want. So seems to be a little bit laggy. I apologize for that. I'm gonna see if I can close out some of my things here. Try to help it move a little bit better. Give me 1 second, guys. I apologize. Unless it's just this app. All right. Yeah, it's still a little laggy. All right. All right, so technically lawful municipal code making public parks have a curfew is unconstitutional. And if an officer or sheriff upholds that to the point of arrest, they committed treason. Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree. So, the cameras themselves, like I said in my video, if you guys haven't watched the video, you really need to go watch all 7 of those videos. They are good. All right, I try to make it so that not only are they good, but they tell you how to fight if they do arrest you, especially right to travel or whatever else using the flock system. Okay. So watch the videos is what I'm trying to say. They're definitely good. But the cameras themselves are lawful and they're legal. If they get permission from the owner of the land to put those up or to run the cable or whatever they got going on, they're legal. I mean, hell, you can do it too if you can get permission. Problem is you don't have the budget that they have. Now, I believe I know who's behind ultimately the financing, the security of the flock cameras and the data centers. If I had to put my finger on it, I'd probably say it's either the government directly or a clandestine operation of the government running money in that. Ultimately, as somebody who was going to be a part of intelligence many years ago, if I would have stayed in what I wanted to do and joined them, then I would have probably been one of the people who have implemented it, but I would have implemented it a lot better. Okay. So my theory is that it's probably them behind it and it's co-signed by, all other people who can make money off of selling all of this data and information. Like I said in my video, one of the reasons why I think that it's very dangerous, though legal, is that if they watch somebody like a politician or a congressman or an alderman or whoever they have an interest, and this is just our own government, they could compromise that person. Let's say it's Russia, okay? Let's say Russia doesn't like, I don't know, Obama. And Obama's out here doing this and that, and maybe he does something he's not supposed to. And they can get him on video. All of a sudden, now they're like, hey, and I'm not saying that Obama's straight or gay or bi, whatever I'm saying, but just hypothetically, let's say that he was, bi, okay? Then he goes over by, his homeboy's house. Maybe the window's open, they can see something. Who knows? Things happen. Nonetheless, if he goes over by somebody's house, maybe a known mafia member. Now, not only our government or the clandestine state within it, or Russia or Korea or whoever can then use that data against him and compromise him. And we wouldn't know until and or unless the whole thing blew apart. By then, a lot of damage could be done. Now, the cameras themselves are legal, they're lawful, but here's the problem. Their use. When the police who are paying for that access of that information, they're getting it from a third party. What's wrong with that, you say? Well, one, the third party is not living. Okay, for a crime, one of the elements is that you have to have a living party who can bear witness against you. The camera's not living. So that's a violation. That's something that can be challenged. Number two, the cop who signs off on seeing the video. Video comes through. They pull the information. They're like, okay, yep, I watched the video. Let me sign off on it. Well, that's fraud because he doesn't have any firsthand testimony. He didn't see it actually happen. He's seeing it third party through a third party system. All of that is considered hearsay. So there are a lot of problems when it comes to using those cameras. And they're paying for that access, which means they're paying for testimony. They're paying for the footage. That's not organic. That's not raw. That's not firsthand. That's not even living information. And the system itself can't sign, notarize, and submit. This is a third party. Now, of course, the state could say, well, okay, well, we're going to pick it up. It came from them, but we're going to pick it up and we're going to go after you. Okay, well, the problem with that is that the state picked it up, and the state has suffered no damage because of that action. So that's void. So let's see what we got in the comments. Sound good here. That'll do it. I haven't watched any of the videos in depth. I have clicked on a couple to get the websites to see if I've been flocked. I haven't. I'm in Charleston. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you at least clicked on it, because that does help me in the algorithm. So thank you for that. But you're supposed to watch the video. But I did make those videos so that you guys could find out about that. And we're gonna, if I can figure out how to bring up those windows, we're gonna jump into that. I'll show you guys a little bit of that too. Unincorporated, step 1. Yeah. I mean, I'm unincorporated. Is this on your website? No, this is not, well, my YouTube site, not on my websites, like JMC Lovett or Black Site 32. I could put some of them up there, but the videos take up so much space. YouTube pays me to take up their space. My own website charges me to use that space. So I try to keep everything on YouTube as much as possible. The people are the state. How do you arrest yourself? That would make you the injured person and the injured person. So, yes. But remember, there's 2 types of states. Okay? So when they, long story short, blah, 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 when they abridge the Constitution, the laws thereby allowing them to make their own bubble within the state, the real state, still yet being superior, but they've taken their minor state and opened up to so many people called the public. And then under the 14th Amendment, it allowed them, they codified a new type of being, a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, or a U.S. citizen under the 14th Amendment, whereas we were all state citizens. So when you engage in anything that is their membership, the state of Florida as a U.S. citizen versus Florida state, the national and or state citizen, you're switching gears. So you're right that you can't really arrest yourself, but what they're doing is they're charging your estate to get money from you and the government, and they're charging you with an infraction, meaning a fraction of a crime. So it's not a true crime, and unless it's a capital crime, unless it's a capital crime, it's an infraction, a piece of it, and that's how they're doing it, and they're administrating you. So they're playing a game where if you switch hats and they consider you guilty of something, then they try to penalize you as if you're a member of theirs. Underneath obfuscation, they use them for treasonous privacy violations. So the way, John, that they get around it is that these cameras are not directly owned by the government or the state or even the municipality. It's a third-party company that just happens to want to put up cameras everywhere. So the cameras aren't illegal or unlawful, but them buying the data to then use against you, you're paying witnesses, and these witnesses aren't alive, and these witnesses have no testimony. And then they're going after people for that. Yeah, that's the violation. You can't pay a witness, because now what happens, and this might be a new thing here, my brain's working on something. If you pay the witness, then the witness has been compromised. Now, if Flock Company gave away the video information for free, there still would be some problems, but then that would be one less violation. But yeah, I just thought about that. You can't pay the witness. That's a conflict of interest then. There you go. Just brought up another good point. Said, I made a Waze style GPS that allows you to take a flock free route. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. I love the fact that you guys are all into this. You guys are all standing up. I probably should have a private server, but I'll tell you what, they would make. Look, these people have pulled videos down straight out of YouTube, either with YouTube's consent or without their knowledge. So if I get a server, all they're going to do is fry it. They're going to fry that bad boy, or they're going to compromise it. You're never going to get completely away from them unless you've got some really good extraterrestrial technology. Out of all your books, what's your favorite? I know they are all special. Oh, Ray? Come on, man. That's like me having 20 girlfriends and picking my favorite. All right, I may have a top 5 in there. That's the old Badwolf when he was bad. Oh man. If you mean as far as books that like made, I can't give you one. Okay, I really can't. But if I had to say top 5 books that made the greatest impact on my life, y'all may agree with this or not, but number 1, I'd have to say the Bible. But when I say the Bible, I mean all of the texts, all of the Apocrypha text that they removed out of it, that whole series, that's probably my number 1. Number 2, probably Black's Law Dictionary. Just because the fact that I had confirmation that they use these different, same words, but different definition. That blew my mind to see it. My police misconduct book, when I started seeing things that I know that police do on a regular basis, and it was like, oh, that is wrong. I thought it was. Herbie Brennan, the Atlantis Enigma. That one threw my mind for a loop. That one was good. Another book called A Dweller on Two Planets by Thylos. Or Philos. That one was good. Man, there's so many. Joseph Davidovitz, the pharaohs built the pyramids with fake stones, where they talk about that the ancient Egyptians, which were really the ancient Atlanteans, basically built the pyramids using geopolymer technology like we pour concrete today, and they knew how to soften stone. This was interesting. And then probably, I don't know, man. Okay, my last 2. Well, actually, I think that's already 5. But The Tao of Jeet Kune Do by Bruce Lee. And then God Rest His Soul, Ron Gibson and the Land Patents. This man broke it down why we're able to do a lot of the things we can do. So those would probably be my top books off the top of my head. I mean, but there's so many more But those would be the ones that when I read them, I was like, oh, damn. Oh, okay. You make a valid point with the cameras not being a live witness. This is why I only tune into your videos. I do my own due diligence as well, but your common sense approach with this is next level. Thank you. Thank you. I try to look at all of it. I mean, you know, I was writing up some stuff. And when you research the laws, like, yeah, I mean, that is one of them. The camera is not a living party. It has not been damaged. It has no claim against you. It's a third party. It cannot sign a complaint. Ergo, if the police officer, captain, sheriff, whoever else signs any one of those and they use it to go against you or prosecute you, it's bearing false witness. It's having a fictitious witness. It's hearsay. And it's conflict of interest if the police station is paying them for that information. They can't use any of that shit. Even the government can't use any of it. The same laws apply. And I apologize, guys, if I'm getting red in the face or I sound congested, because I am. I've got my allergies are kicking in. I've been fighting them all day. I should probably go get a Zyrtec or something right now, but I think I'll hang out and see if I can make it. But if it gets too bad, yeah, I'll just tell you guys to hang on and I'll just go pop one. How do you rent U-Hauls or drive outside the USA to earn a license? I personally don't rent any U-Hauls, but there are some private companies. Sometimes if you talk to the manager or the owner and you tell them that you are an American, you know how to drive, they'll override it and put your passport number in and let you utilize the vehicle. You still got to have insurance or pay for their stuff, blah, blah, blah. Outside of the U.S., also inside of the U.S., another option is to get a, what is that? An international driver permit, the IDP. That works as well. Somebody had brought up the fact of an image. So here's the thing, too. If you want to get into the more technicalities of what they're doing, and this could really go for any footage, when somebody goes to serve you a warrant, I don't know if you guys know this, they actually have to have the original one in hand that the judge signed. They have to have the master one. That is the authoritative document. If they don't, or it's faxed, or it's emailed, or a picture taken of it, that is a facsimile. They cannot arrest you with that because they don't have the actual power in hand. If I denote this pair of glasses as being the king's scepter, the king's, well, I'll say crown, but you get what I'm saying. Only the king can wear these. You cannot take a picture of these glasses and be like, oh, I'm the king now. I got a picture of his scepter, of his glasses. It's not how it works. It's a fake. It's a counterfeit. So some people have argued that when you have an ID, like a driver's license and hell, even the passport, it's also a facsimile. It's not the real you. It is its own version of you, your doppelganger, your legal or lawful doppelganger. It's not you. That's why a document like that and an ID is a document. That's where it came from. ID. Identification document. ID. ID. Identification. I. Document. D. Identification. ID. It is a facsimile of you. It is not the real you. That is why it presents you. You, the living, are always in the present. There can only be one you. Even a clone is not you. Those cells are actually aged and different than you. From it can become a clone of you, which is nearly identical, but it's not you. It's aged material, and your soul is unique to your body. It's like a snowflake. So, ergo, your driver's license, state ID, whatever else, is a facsimile of you. It's a copy. That copy is its own entity that represents you. What it is that you are supposed it anybody who's in their membership is supposed to accept the representation of you as you, and it confirms your membership. John Wick says, I love you, bro. No Zyrtec ginger shots. Ginger. Yeah, I think I got some ginger. Are you saying that is better to take than Zyrtec? Because I mean, how many milligrams of ginger? Because that should be burning my tongue. I put a little bit of ginger and whatever else in my stuff, but yeah. How all of this flock is going to play reminds me of capturing much about the UK. Yeah, try going over to the UK or whatever else now, because they own everything. And guess who, is co-owner of the United States Corporation, or the District of Columbia? King of England, City of London, and the Vatican. So that which they're doing there, they want to do here. If it was the other way around, we would be doing it first, and then we would be bringing it there. Yeah, my friend, this subject is covering our last conversation. I have all the design work done and just have to pay to build it. Oh, Mr. Maverick. How's it going, good sir? All right. So I'm going to now jump over, if I can figure out on this new platform here. I'm going to share my other screen. Let's see which one is it. This one. Share screen. Ah, there we go. Okay. Let's see. We're going to start at the first one here. We're going to start on Eyes on Flock. Let's take a look over here. All right, hold on. Let's see here. Which one do I use to navigate? Okay. All right, find nearby ALPRs. So they're basically just keeping. So these are resources. Let's see here. Let's get back to the main page. Okay. So in providing a little flock transparency, just since I on this page, they've scanned and tracked 230,000 vehicles. There are 950 portals reporting. This shows you the top organizations that the information has been shared with. California Riverside District Attorney. California, Texas, California, Illinois. Okay. Top search reasons. Why are they searching? Of course, they're going to call it investigation. 55,000 of those searches are for investigation. Investigation, stolen, suspect vehicle, A 10851. I don't know what that is. So anybody knows what that is, let me know. Theft, Grand Theft Auto, GTA, stolen vehicle, daytime search for best results. Okay, as you can see here, Spokane or Kane, Washington has redacted their information. They keep their data for 21 days. Well, guess what? Flock probably keeps the data longer, so that means the cops can keep it up to 31 days. Look at this, Alameda County. This is probably where, in California, where my son, who was kidnapped, FBI, is living right now. Alameda County. Look at that. California. What if they have any cameras over there? Failure to enact on a crime once it has been reported about kidnapping from my home state, California, my son, Alameda County, and not to do anything is a violation of the law. Just throwing it out there for all law enforcement who are watching this. You're now party to it. But let's continue. So, looks like here also in another part of Alameda, you can actually view the search audit. Okay, investigations, a 127.5. I'd have to break all this down, pull up. Anywhere in Florida. All right. All right, it's not going for some reason. All right. Well, anyway, you guys get the point. So if you guys want to see basically what's going on, you can have at it. Okay. Let's stop sharing that one. And we get back over here. Okay, what else we got here? Nettle tea. I just picked up some nettle. Actually, what, 2 days ago? I got about like 2 pounds of it. Sip slow, ginger. All right, nettle tea. I'll try it. Michael's a troll. Yeah, it looks like it. I don't even play PlayStation. All right, so let's take a look at another system. And we're going to look at, have I been flocked? So this is where you can see if they have looked you up. And as you can see here, I looked myself up, obviously. So surprisingly, no results. Okay, so they also have a plate lookup. So as many of you guys know, I'm currently in the process of redesigning my plates, because if you watch the videos, I put in the standard identification number I have on my plate which is UCC 1-308. So I wanted to see if somebody out there seen me, put it in, and no. So apparently, or at least they haven't done it in the last 30 days or 46 days. Okay. So then I tried it. That. And it shows 22 results. So because this, so many people are using for the plate, it's time for me to plate and not use this number. I need to use something unique. Okay. So, but we can see here that somebody looked it up on a traffic demo. Somebody looked it up here for a criminal investigation. So I don't want to be affiliated with that. Somebody looked it up and then they put it, the reason why they did it was a test. This is probably their shorthand to say they looked up something that they weren't supposed to. They didn't want to get into trouble. They'll do like little shorthands like that, you know, demo or test, whatever else. Then now look down here. So somebody in a different state in MS, okay, probably what, Minnesota? The reason why EPA was like, oh, I think this is a sovereign. Now, are they using this in a good way? Or do they mean sovereign citizen in a bad way? Nonetheless, they put it in here. So let's take a look at the logs. Okay. Wanted person, obstruction. So this is clearly not all the same person. But you can see all the stuff that they, I'm sure it's probably in here somewhere. All right, we're not going to go through every single one. But once again, this is not something that they can prosecute you under. And it's defamation of character. See, look, once again, TS, probably for test, INV, investigation. Okay, and then there's some more stuff. So if you guys want to see if they are looking you up, put your plate in right here. Okay. And then underneath search, search a term, theft, traffic stop, warrant. Okay, so check this out. $584 results, only 36 are shown for the term sovereign citizen. Oh, well. So you mean to tell me every one of these is because somebody in South Carolina County, SO, so probably what, sheriff's office, either pulled somebody over legitimately or illegitimately or unlawfully, and then referred to them in the shorthand as a sovereign citizen? Or maybe this SO is for sovereign. I can't tell. Let's see here. Let's click it open. Okay, probably sheriff's office maybe, or searching agency, probably. Let's back up. So yeah, so all of these are related to them calling you a sovereign citizen, which means if your name is in here and they use it with you and you've got this kind of proof, you sue them. Sue them for defamation of character and make a quick 50 or 100,000. So Keith said, if it's easy for you to look this stuff up, anybody else can do it too. Well, yeah, Keith, I I'd hope so. It's it's the internet. As long as you can communicate and you have typing skills, anybody else can look it up too. You don't have to be here if that's what you're referring to. You could literally not be here or do it yourself. Yes. The premise for me showing people is that a lot of people didn't know that those sites exist. Yeah, I would say they're probably monitoring because now it's like moving real slow. I'm clicking on things to put on the screen and it's not doing it. Oh, MS is Mississippi, is it? I thought Mississippi was MISS or MS, something like that. But okay. Somebody said, "What website is that?" That one is called HaveIBeenFlocked.com. HaveIBeenFlocked.com. Okay. Now I want to show you guys another site. This is the short version for those people who have not watched my videos. All right, guys, let's not fight in the comments section. We do have moderators keeping track if they're on today. Let's see here. All right, so let's take a look at another page, another screen. And thank you to everybody and all people who have supported. As always, we can always agree to disagree on certain information and things of that nature. The biggest thing is that we're not going to be belligerents and combatants towards each other when we're not the problem. We're talking about the problem, and we're not going to make the problem, a problem between all of us. So check out this one. This is a deflock map. Okay. So like somebody mentioned earlier, they have an app where you can see where all the cameras are. Let's take a look at this. And if you want, type in your zip code, and then I'll bring it up on the map if I see it. Okay. What's going on, Frog Dog and Ghost? I see you in there. And then somebody said, are these the cameras that are popping up all over every town and city? Yes. So now I want you guys to see where you guys can see what I see. Okay, let's take a look. All right, I'm going to hide the chat section from the screen for right now for this presentation. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with this. So here you can download the DFlock app. I'm not even sure what city or where this is, so I'm just going to type in 90210. Okay, boom. So if you live in 90210, all the cameras that are spying on you. So let's take, so Beverly Hills. And if you notice, they show you which direction legal use, cough, cough, good people, but they tell you which way, they show you which way the cameras are facing. You can also see what streets there are none on. And for the record, okay, the flock systems or their companion systems can tell if you are coming, walking near it, or driving by with your cell phone. Yes, they can track that your signal from your cell phone was in that area and close to the camera. So I highly suggest not doing any criminal activity. Okay. Also, not all of the cameras have this function. Some of them have a secondary function, but not all of them, where yes, they can pick up voices and conversations. However, they are supposed to be tuned to only pick up sounds of distress, quote unquote. Now, let's say you want to get from here to there and you don't want to be on camera. Well, you can jump on Flock Hopper here. And you can put in your starting point to where you want to go. And let's see here, 90210. Oh, it won't let me just, I guess you have to use an actual address. Okay, so you got to put in an address from here to the address of where, and then it will route you through the city and around. Holy shiznit. All of that. Look at that. It's like the only safe place, which also isn't really safe usually, is the national forest. Now, in some ways, hey, if they were catching runaway kids, kidnapped kids, adultering, bank robbers, if they were doing that instead of labeling people sovereign citizens and using it to extract tickets, then I would have no problem. If they weren't looking into people's houses. One lady showed the Flock camera was right outside of her bedroom window to the point where she could reach out of her window and touch the camera. Yeah, I don't think if that was by my house, that camera would be up too long. Educationally speaking, of course. You know, I'm sure the wind would come along. So within the view of what we can see right here in this upper right-hand corner, it says there are 7,423 cameras within this view. Here is the network. There are 6,421 agencies within the view. This, guys, look at this. You see this? This is now showing you outgoing information from this location. Over here on the left side, there's 189 outgoing, 10 incoming, and the purple are 13 mutual. This is in North Carolina right now. If you're not amazed by this, to see who they're sharing and how, and look, they're all sharing this information. Somebody over here in Indianapolis is receiving information. This is how they're networking to track criminals down, supposedly. Can't find any damn kids with it, but, you know, they can tell you a sovereign citizen's on your way to Hendersonville and to bother you when you get there. Or that Steve over here went up to Canada to a dispensary, came back down, came back a couple hours later, and then arrested him right at the border of Illinois. Yeah, this is what they're doing. This is what your tax dollars are hard to work for. Catching people who have the privacy to go get some weed in another state or some gummies and bring it back and eat them. You have that right. Believe it or not, if you're not hurting anybody, you have the right to do illegal shit. If it's illegal in your state to eat a gummy, if you want to go to Illinois, pick some up, bring it back to North Carolina, you have that as a right. But with the flock system, all they got to do is get the dime dropped on you. And now you've got a ticket waiting for you. But see, really, that's also a violation because they're going to pull you over for what? They got probable cause to believe that because you walked into a weed gummy store that you actually bought some and have some on your person. Oh, wait a minute. Then there's the fact that some of these stores, some of these pew pew ranges had flock cameras. The flock cameras were aimed at you and the range, so they bought who you talk to in the parking lot, what plates. Now, maybe the local cops don't want it, but the government may. And they're just sharing their information. Who is this? Petone, Illinois has 97 income data requests. They scanned 109,000 vehicles. It says outgoing shares not visible. So it means this police station opted for their information on who they're sending it to not be shared. And the ones who don't want to share are the ones in red. So this particular location, can't see it, Perry County, Ohio, has 563 outgoing and 4 incoming. Look, this is real time, guys. If this doesn't bother you, I don't know what should. Now, understand this. They do already communicate through internet, email, whatever else. So don't let this overly alarm you. But if we look here at the colors indicate who's requesting that information. If it's in blue, it's PD. Teal is a sheriff. Yellow is federal. Ah, so this is mostly federal. Oh, wait, what's the purple? Oh, some school. Okay, I guess a school. May or may not be a real school, but okay, a school. And then what bothers me is there's a gray one here that says other. Who is other? All right, you guys get the idea. Back over to the main screen so you can see what's going on in the chat. Chat back up. All right, so Maverick said we got 54650. Okay, so let's check that one out. Quick, Robin, back to the deflock screen. All right. So within this view, there are 3. Okay, search agencies. Oh, hold on. Maybe I got the zip code wrong. Let me double check. 54650, 54650. Okay. Okay. Five, 4, 6, 5, 0. Okay, yeah, we had that part right. Most of the network is hidden. Okay, so they're not showing that. We'll do it this way. All right. So, Mr. Speed, there are 49 cameras near Onalaska, Wisconsin. Okay, I'm going to double click here, bring it in. I'm just going to pick a random place. All right. Let's see here. Who else put one in? 44109. Okay, so this part of it is if you want to check your route. Okay, I hit the route. That's why. Okay, that's on me. So basically, if you want to avoid it, this is how you avoid it. All right. All right, let me reshare the other screen. Boom. Share screen. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I'm still getting used to this new control system. All right, 44109. Somebody's in Ohio. Okay, there are 4 agencies here, but does not look like. There we go. All right, so now over to the map. So for you, 44109, this is what you're looking at. I don't know where you live or you want to look, so I'm just gonna Going to focus in over here in this big cluster. So once again, we've got one aimed at strip mall areas, parking lots. It's kind of because, you know, they tell us, oh, the, you know, garden areas and these paths and trails are where most things happen, but yet, you know, they don't have any cameras on them by these parkways, but they do have them near your Starbucks. They got, and you know, and then for the kids going missing in schools, they don't seem to have them near schools either. Okay, this one does. This one does. But it's not at the school, it's past the school. So I guess you do at least have to kind of come in a little bit. But if you went around the long way here, you get to the school and avoid the camera. There's that. And there's only one. Okay, let's see what else we got. Who else put a zip in there? 78163. All right. Texas. All right. So fine. Too bad. Once again, I'm just going to randomly zoom in. Okay, once again, let's see here. They got the parking lots, something near Mayman Family Public Library. So not even at the public library. They got it at whatever building or strip mall this is, probably some grocery store. They got you coming, they got you once you're in, and then they can see you coming out. Unless you go the back way, which is probably where they go and pick up the garbage. Now, mind you, they can't fully identify all the way across and down here in perfect detail. So this back part of the lot would be a blind spot. Okay, let's see. What else we got? One more in there. 29,29418. SC. All right. So clearly nothing near the air base. I wonder why. Nothing near the airport. I wonder why. Let's see what they do have nearby. Some kind of rental return area. Nothing at the park. I mean, for people who are always telling us not to be in the park after a certain time and people get mugged or assaulted in the parks, I mean, you'd think you'd have something at the park. Nope. Really nothing at the park. Nothing near the schools. Let's see. We got it near Arby's, Chipotle, Buffalo Wild Wings. Because these are the most congregated areas. Near the museum, but yeah, mostly in the strip mall here. All right, you guys get the idea. You guys know now where to go and find some of this stuff. Somebody says, I use Flipper. Okay, you guys got a lot of stuff in the chat. Somebody said you're breaking up. Yeah, oh, I'm sure I'm breaking up a little bit. I can be just recording on my own computer, which is a brand new laptop, plenty of RAM, all that good jazz. I always drop the money when I need to get a new one. and it's still eep, op, ork, op, op, choppy sometimes. So that's just them. That's why for the person who said, oh, you should get your own server, they're just going to mess with it too. I mean, my cell phones, I've got probably 12 TVs in my house, two, three different cell phones, uh, three laptops, etc. And, they're going to bother it. They're going to put that jazz on it. But once again, I'm not doing anything that I'm worried about, like plotting something or this or that. I'm just here to share information. That's it. So they would just fuddle it up too, we'll just say. They skipping and lagging your knowledge, bro. Oh, yeah, of course. Maverick said it's a small town, low crime, not one single crime solved in 3 years. Well, you already know what that is. Yeah, I did hear of Winona, Minnesota had 8 cut down in the night. Yeah, because people ain't, see, I can't say that I condone any illegal or criminal activity. But were not the founding fathers considered criminals and whatever else when they stood up for their rights? And at what point in time, when the founding fathers stated that at any point in time, should the government or the state or the police state get to a point where they're no longer serving the people, that we have the right to abolish and to create something new in its place? They said that. We don't, I think we can all agree that if it was literally all AI, people didn't have their hands on it, and they were solving the missing kids and people that go missing every day, and they were solving those like that, I don't think we'd have a problem with so much of it. Problem is the misuse and the abuse, and that these data centers are storing all this information and somebody's using it. Who is other? Who is other? They said other had access to this information. I'm just asking questions. Ghost said 125.71. Okay. For you, I'll jump back over there. Share screen. All right, let's get in there. Let's see what 125.71 is looking like. And why? Oh, your shit's going to be lit up. It might take. Oh, wait, hold on. Maybe not. Okay. I'm surprised. Anything New York is usually. Hold on, let me back out a little bit. Okay, you must live somewhere nice in this general area. Or there's not a whole lot of big things by you. So let's see, we'll go Broadway. So once again, see all this? They have it right near where everybody goes to eat food. It's right near the Red Hook Diner. We got one on Spring Lake Road. It's kind of weird. They don't have much out here, but I guess anybody coming and going, they're going to get. It might be the only place in the area where they could get a contract to put one up. These things have to. I know they're not wiring these things to any main places, so they got to be all solar powered, and then they got to have a transmitter that's transmitting from here to some kind of Wi-Fi, internet, or satellite service, which means that these things are then subjectable to certain interference EMPs and jammer type technology. Not that we condone any of that. Not saying to do it. Just saying, as somebody who's an electrical engineer, I'm just saying. But let's see what else they got going on. I know New York's got to have way more than that. So let's back out a little bit. There we go. Albany looks like the hot spot. That's where all the there. Okay, there you go. And once again, it does show you which directions that they're aiming. I'm really surprised they don't have these bad boys one in each direction, because all people are doing is they're like walking this around this way. One down, another one down, next one down. But then again, how much money does it take to, it's one per camera. So if you put 4 up, you're quadrupling the that. And then, as education and entertainment purposes only, one of my friends, and I'm not going to ask how he knows this, but I was informed there's about almost $300 worth of gold and other precious minerals inside of them to make sure that the top-notch quality circuitry in there runs optimally. Not sure how he knows that, but I guess he does a lot of research. I hear stuff. According to somebody else, lasers will disable them. I've heard the same thing. I've heard that either a high-powered red or whatever else can do that. So that being the case, we're letting you guys know now and here, be very careful when out in the public. Make sure your kids know not to aim them at those devices. Probably especially at night when they're more sensitive. So be careful, because those are somebody else's property that they're using to keep track of your vehicle plates. And they lied to us, I think, though, because they said they don't track people. But in fact, numerous officers were caught tracking their ex-girlfriends. Matter of fact, one officer was caught tracking a woman he just liked a lot. And all I could say is heaven help him, any of them, if it was my girlfriend or somebody in my family. For educational reasons, I might have to re-educate them or anybody underneath American jurisprudence. But yeah, apparently he was able to follow this woman who didn't know. But I'm sure those are isolated cases of just 46 in the last week that were found, because there's no way to tell unless somebody goes in and looks to see if there was abuse within the police, because the police have to police themselves. But Flock apparently says that they're going to implement something to help reduce misuse and abuse. But still yet, they won't tell us who other is that has access to the system. Of course, we know who other is. So other is other. So John said other is other law enforcement. Well, John, if you want me to cut the shit, other is probably the government. The government's involved in everything. It's just a matter of if they're doing it on the books, off the books, clandestine, or normal op. That's it. But it's them. They would be other. Yeah. I've been talking about all this since day one. So, yeah. They're the ones who like to stay out of it, because if they put their name on it, which they would then put it there as NSA, or national security. But as the one site showed, it said federal on that one, so yeah, it would be them. It's one of the agencies. Walmart and Lowe's are using Flock. Yeah, a lot of them, they don't care because they're getting a check. They're getting a check. The people that are letting them put it on their property, like the one gun or pew pew range, they're getting the check. But then from that, the police are then buying that information. Maverick said the one on 35 is close to you. Okay. So yeah, no, don't misunderstand. There are definitely a lot of great officers. I know some. My next door neighbor used to be one. He moved he retired, and then the last year he was here, he then moved down south somewhere. He was a great guy. I mean, he would see my car, because he likes the type of car I have, and he's seen the plates all the time. He would just go, That's it. He could have tried to make my daily life as hard as possible if he wanted. He doesn't. There's numerous police officers who know exactly who I am, where I live, what I do, all that good stuff. Matter of fact, I sleep better at night knowing that such law enforcement and government agents know exactly where I live. They can fabricate case numbers to access whatever they want. Okay. See what else we got here. If they are making an ability to sleep in public, it's time to abolish, as per the founding fathers, can create a government and start the process. So in one of my videos, I talked about using the reverse of the law. Okay. First of all, it's understanding that the law is a set of rules for, especially if you're talking about state law, for 14th Amendment U.S. citizens. And then you've got federal law for those who are federal citizens. One and the same, but still yet different responsibilities and belonging to either of those groups. And then, of course, there's nationals and state citizens, where we, the people, are governed by our own consent. And we are the law. We gave them power. The creation cannot be more powerful than the creator. So the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence were set up so that it would limit them and give us a baseline of our protections, rights, and liberties. They don't limit us. So when I say the reverse of the law, it's like when I mentioned the right to travel video, because the chat was fighting me on it. And I said, okay, chat. I said, in what year did the state or government, federal law, create a law that prohibited or revoked the right of a private citizen or national to use their vehicle privately, unregistered as an automobile? When did that law get passed? When was it created? When did it get passed? It froze for a while and it said there is no law. So I said, now you're starting to understand that we have rights that are unenumerated if there's no law against it. But now in this case, we're saying if they're trying to make it a felony to sleep in public, that's a case of them overreaching, and that can and should be challenged. The problem is the government doesn't pop down for us and just do shit. So in whatever city or state that you're in, if they're making it a felony to sleep in public, that needs to be reported to the government so the government can then go after them under 241 and 242. Because a felony means that something criminal occurred and that there was a damaged living person or significant damage to said property. The public, depending on, remember now, if you didn't watch, I made 2 videos where there's 2 publics. There's the outside world public, okay, the organic public. I've only said this in 2 videos, and you guys have to know this information. I haven't heard anybody talk about half the shit I talk about here. There's the organic public, which is the outside, which the states and the police officers, etc., are trustees for. It's not their shit. The roads aren't theirs. Those are ours. The Republic, the Floridians, the Wisconsinites, the Illinoisans, the Californians. It's ours. They built them with our money. It's our land. America is ours. We are America. We're Americans. Ergo, America is ours. They are the corporate trustees for all of that. The trustees cannot tell us what we can do with our organic stuff unless we're abusing it. And right, it's not so much abolish as it is, like you said, either need to restore or update, or we need to run antivirus on it. The whole United States needs an antivirus run on it, because we've allowed our enemies to not only be foreign, but to be domestic. And some of those foreign ones are now controlling and operating within our borders. And if you want to know who our enemies are, find out, what did he say? Follow the money. Find out where we're spending the most money, and you'll probably find who is controlling us. Not necessarily an enemy, but who's controlling us. Because we, much like other places in the world, are being pimped out, and the rest of the world doesn't know that we Americans don't know fully what's going on. And or random people driving by and committing controversies, or unmarked vehicles driving by in secession, things of that nature. So we're getting to a point where the Empire State, they're Americans in a position where even the people who are sitting on the sidelines. I was 9 years old, but some people out there have been on the sidelines, and they didn't believe me when I talked about the CVD-19 thing. They didn't hear me about right to travel. Didn't hear me about certain other things going on out there. A lot of the stuff I've been putting on my other YouTube channel, Badwolf Unrestricted, so I can separate the two. I talk about everything over there on that channel. Very less polished, if you will, very casual me. But I can tell you this. Now that they're squeezing, they've got people's attention. So now people are starting to wake up. Even people who are on the sidelines are starting to go, wait a minute. Do I have to do this? Is this really a thing? What are the alternatives? So, as my mom used to say before she passed away, it's always darkest before the dawn. Lots of people have said that when it's not hers, just things she always liked to say. With that being the case, it's not me getting people into the game. It's them. They're waking up the spirit of America by overstepping. When you can tell me that somebody's sleeping in public, a natural human right, I'm not saying in the middle of the street. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, you can't sleep there every single day. If it's a traffic area or they're making a mess. But when they write these laws, understand that these laws that make it a felony for somebody to sleep in public, that's not the real law. That's a code. that they're enforcing for 14th Amendment U.S. citizens. They're telling their people they can't sleep in public. The problem is that they're pushing that onto nationals. So what they're doing is and they've said this to somebody that I was working on a case with. They said, you're misapplying the law. No. Using things like foreign registration or non-resident registration is not misapplying the law when you're private and you don't want to be a part of the public. But what they're doing is misapplying the laws. They're misapplying it to the private citizen who is their boss. They forgot their damn minds. They absolutely have the right to tell their citizens to do almost anything they want unless they deprive that person, their member under the 14th Amendment, a slave. That's what they did. They created that for the slaves, and then everybody got in on it. Because you're waiving your constitutional rights when you operate, exist, show, present an ID that you're a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. Now, one of the other pieces here is somebody said, well, why do cops, and it's probably a cop, cops don't have to abide by the Constitution. They've got their codes and their, rules. Wrong. One of the first things they have a cop do is pledge to protect the United States of America and the Constitution and its people. It's right in the cop's oath of office. So he's already in violation of his oath, and if he's not doing his job, it's treason. Especially if he's prosecuting and hurting people. He took an oath. Now, every state has a slightly different oath of office, but all of them have to have those basic same guidelines. John's popping up some things here. Let's get it up. Facts. We did not ask or vote for any of this, but you remember, John, we have two different capacities, and these police officers and judges in states can operate in two different capacities. The state absolutely has their own constitution where they know they are subservient and they are party to the Constitution. But then they have their own codes, regulations, and rules for their members, which are 14th Amendment U.S. citizens, not the national. Just like when they took all of our gold, they said all U.S. citizens must give them the gold. They were only talking about U.S. citizens, not nationals. Nationals, if they were to realize this, if you're holding gold, you have a decision to make. Are you in 14th Amendment U.S. citizen public de facto capacity with the mask on, holding that gold? Or are you the private citizen, national, de jure American who them asking for your gold doesn't apply? It's the same thing when you go into court. Same thing when you present yourself to a police officer. And any police officer there, if they don't remember their oath of office, let me remind you, you took an oath to uphold the Constitution. But here's the problem. An orchestrated problem. Cops can operate in two different capacities. We can be in two different capacities. The courts can be in two different capacities. But the police officers are not trained. Most of them, I've never heard a cop speak or use the state's constitution or that law. I've never heard any of the cops ever in my entire life quote the Constitution for the United States of America or the Bill of Rights or the Declaration of Independence, because they're not taught any of that. They are public 14th Amendment U.S. citizens taught state legislature codes and rules, and primarily the ones in the patrol cars, traffic safety. All that learned in 9 months, but no superior law of the land. And John Wick is in fact emphatically correct. The supreme law of the land is the Constitution, and no codes are above it. Matter of fact, I forgot one of the court case. I think it was a court case, or somebody, one of the founding fathers, said that something along the lines of, if the state or government or something like that takes a right or freedom and charges a fee or whatever for it, you have the right to ignore it with impunity and enjoy the freedom or privilege, something like that. So once again, once it comes to right to travel, if there's no law against it, I can do it. If there's a public, then there has to be an opposite, that which then is the private. So I have the right to privately use my automobile. Your automobile doesn't turn into a motor vehicle until you register it. A man doesn't turn into a police officer until he registers himself to become one. We all know they violate the Constitution. We all have citizen grand jury powers. Yeah, we are the highest authority in the land. If you know what you're doing, you have more power than any police officer, sheriff, marshal, federal agent, government agent, state anything, period. The problem is invoking it. And generally, there should be no time to invoke it unless they're trying to take away your constitutional rights. If you're sitting there enjoying anything they provide you, well, then you've slipped into 14th Amendment slave U.S. citizenship jurisdiction, and you are now subject to their rules and regulations. Other than that, there should be never a time where you need to exalt your power over them. Maybe they forgot that, but we in fact are. They should be doing what they want to do with their people, for the most part, how they want. But remember, the law also states that anywhere where you are denied your constitutional rights after invoking them, it's a federal violation. And if you ask me, the law should come down 10 times harder, not softer, on anybody in uniform who breaks the laws. They were entrusted to be the best of the best, the cream of all of the crop that is us, the United States of American nationals. So if they break the law should come down even harder on them to make an example out of them. They try to make examples out of us. Upholding foreign corporate policy as if it's true law, operating under the color of law as a foreign agent under the FARA Act. Yeah, Foreign Agent Registration Act. Correct. Yes. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate you. And yes, John, you are emphatically once again correct. Indeed. One of the hardest things about the American private side is that there is nothing organized. And most of these municipalities, governments, states, and whatever else don't want to recognize the private. The whole premise of the private is that we do what we need to do and we keep it private. The problem is when we try to say private, some cock knocker wants to come along and push you off of your horse. The only time that they're supposed to be involved is if there is a public controversy, a crime, you give consent, by acquiescence and saying nothing. That's the only time that they're supposed to be involved. Or if you're doing business or commercial. And what is business or commercial? That is when you are servicing more than one person at a time. You know, like my ex-girlfriend, my son's mom. When you're servicing more than one person at a time, that's commercial. They rule and regulate anything commercial unless you set it up correctly, mostly in the form of a PMA. If your undertaking involves people you don't know in number for profit, that's the public. That's their jurisdiction. I don't know who gave them that damn jurisdiction. I don't know. I mean, did the government say, hey, you guys can rule and control every single thing out there? Because the government is not supposed to embark in business, but the states are. Ergo, the state ofs, not the republic, the state ofs are for-profit businesses, even though they're listed as governments with the government, but they're a sub-government. Sovereign, so it's kind of funny they don't like the word sovereign, but they're sovereign, but not 100% sovereign. They don't want us to be. Really what it is they don't want any of their 14th Amendment U.S. citizens, their slaves, to be sovereign. And they don't like it when those slaves wake up and try to leave the plantation. But you absolutely have a right to do that. But now, if you do it in the wrong way, or you don't make a clean break, you don't know what you're doing, or you're against the government or the states, well, then you are the stupidest slave they have, and you are a belligerent and combatant, and you are still yet their property. If you are like, I'm against them, and you attack them, well, then yeah, because that's what makes them money. In fact, yes, every charge is a debt. For some reason, John, it won't show your comments. So, oh, there it is. It must have been run through one of their relays for approval. I don't think I like what John Wick Sensei said there. No, go ahead and prove it. Go ahead and prove it. Okay, hold on. Every debt is a charge. Yeah, they're charging. Well, I agree with you. The way I look at it is this: I guess you could look at it both ways. But yeah, essentially, it's their way of making. Is it their way of making money? Are they pulling in positive credit into their world to feed on it, or are they charging you and making a further negative remark in the register to contract you deeper into being a slave? Or is it both? Maverick said, I don't attack, I ask questions. They don't like to answer. Exactly. And so if you're asking the questions, whoever's asking is the king. You're asking. Horse said, is that an avocado plant behind you? You know what? No, I did have, looks like one of my plants is sad. No, that one should be a bamboo. That one's a money tree right there. This one is some type of, it's not a fern, but it's I don't know, one of those weird ones. But no, yeah, about a year ago, I did have a avocado one. You may be thinking of that one. That one was, or that one looks like it's money, or that's a bamboo. Which, for the record, I have heard that you should not plant bamboo near AI centers. Apparently, it's really hard on the foundations and building and hard to get rid of. Just saying, in case anybody lives near one, don't do that. Question: how could any man be an enemy of the state when the state is a fictional imagination? Well, from their perspective, depending on how far deep you want to go, all these corporations are registered through the District of Columbia, through the United States. And everything outside of the District of Columbia, which the closest area persons to the District of Columbia is America. DC is its own empire city, its own empire state, has its own everything, and own constitution, own flag, and whatever else. It's not American, but it's within the family of the United States of America. So from their perspective, they are protecting the trust. And from their understanding, anybody who's not a member of the trust, especially not a trustee, is a threat. And because sometimes you have to protect people from themselves, which then protects the trust, sometimes you have to protect the beneficiary from trying to withdraw too much money from the trust. The trustee has a job to protect the trust in its entirety, in its operation, even from its own beneficiaries. Otherwise, the beneficiaries can collapse the trust. And I know there's some agents watching, and you guys know what I said there. So with that being the case, when someone's on a ship and they have a British flag on it, who is the enemy? Is it the sailors taking orders? Is it the physical ship? Is it the flag with just some colors on it? It's all of it. The only living threats are the people, but the flag itself is a threat. The ship is a threat. Their ideologies are threats. So from their perspective, they created their state called the public, maritime admiralty jurisdiction, et cetera, the corporation. And anybody who's not for the corporation, from their perspective, is against it. Unless, like with me and my channel, you say you're neutral, non-belligerent, non-combatant. I'm not in the war. I'm not against the corporation. I'm not. I'm really not. Matter of fact, they should actually be thanking me. I'm just helping people to understand how to get into the corporation and how to get out of it if they choose. That's all. Something they should do. But they're not. I'm just saying, even like with the Army and or the Marines, Semper Fi, do or die, devil dogs, hoorah. If somebody wants to leave, there's an honorable discharge. If you leave and you're not allowed to leave at that particular point, then you're AWOL. Absent without official leave. But there's still a way out. Honorable, dishonorable discharge. And Maverick here says, a fiction is still an entity and is subject to damage from threats. So could Russia hypothetically damage the United States? Could they put us in so many wars that we run out of money? Like what almost happened with the British, until we borrowed some money from people who are now part of our family. With the war that we didn't win, but was a corporate merger. Now open, the District of Columbia, located in Washington. Absolutely. Absolutely. There are numerous ways to attack a dead entity. You can take it to court, you can put it into debt, take its equity. And remember, and like John here said, the Trade with the Enemy Act, absolutely. They have the right to what's known as implied, well, not only implied license, but they also have a right to believe that unless you, let me put it into kind of like a parable kind of a way. If you and your lady are walking in the hood at 2 o'clock in the morning, Saturday night, and like 20 dudes are blocking your way, you're going to feel threatened. We all know what would probably happen to you and your lady. You feel threatened. If they don't show you some kind of sign that they're not a threat, your first instinct, the first instinct of the law of the land, is that they possibly are a threat in all the ways. Because why would they not if they could just do it? So from their perspective, if you don't declare yourself not to be an enemy, you're an enemy. That's it. I can assume anything I want about anybody. It doesn't make me right, but if I think you're a threat and you're walking on my property or you're too close to me, I might have to handle that business one way or another. So that's how they look at it. So now what are they doing with these cameras? It's a dream come true for the government AI system. They can 3D map this in real time. They can map out through Google and whatever else everywhere you've been, what you say in your conversations. They know what plots you're doing. And I find all of that funny because I've even learned, and I knew this a long time ago, so this is nothing new for me, maybe new for some of you. But if they really wanted to know where people are who are missing and they already have a known DNA sample of you, what would stop them from going to a waste facility and scooping DNA samples out of there and matching the DNA and then taking samples in the sewers or right outside from your home to get your DNA, to see who's living in your house, maybe somebody that's been missing, or maybe they just want your unique DNA. And I'm going to go crazy here for just a moment. What if they wanted to capture DNA through like a bankrupt 21andMe and give it to aliens for huge sums of money or protection? We don't know. Now, of course, I'm just teasing, having a little fun here. But you get what I'm trying to say. So for the fact that people have been missing and they can't find them, couldn't they just test those places? I mean, we already know that they can hack into these phones at any point in some time. And if you've ever used the phone, the government has a database of your voices recording in their system. They can tell the AI right now, locate the Badwolf, and it's going to pinpoint right here because I'm talking through this, and all of your phones, even more so when they're on. There's lots of stuff the phones can still do when they're off. But we'll keep it simple. And it's transmitting. It can pick up. So I just find it funny. You're only going to be lost or missing if they don't care. If they care about where you are, they'll know where you are. If you're near anything technological that can transmit, well, sadly, Ben, we will probably not within my or most people here's lifetime kick them out. But with enough people waking up, we can push them back into the sandbox. And how do we do that? Which is DC. We don't use their stuff. We stop feeding the beast. We stop feeding the District of Columbia. We stop engaging in their stuff. We start to stand up and go, yeah, I'm going to be private. I'm going to make my house private, make my cars private, make my bank private. Still looking for a way other than keeping a safe at your house, which that's the old way. Maybe that's the way to go. To go back to have something you can put your money and stuff in and have that completely private. Oh, and if you didn't know, by the way, if you search the word gold, you're going to be on one of their lists too. Pretty much everything puts you on their list these days. You said your teasing is not out of bounds of the criminal minds. Oh, I'm sure. See, you guys watch my videos, but I guarantee you all of them watch my videos way more than you guys. I just don't know if they're leaving a thumbs up or not. But John says that's not practical. Who says it's not practical? For the government to take a sample? They have trillions upon trillions of our dollars. What is it? 75 or 80% of the budget is on military and the military war industrial complex. Yeah. Now, can they do every single place? No. But could they do a good number? Yes. Yes, they could. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have other means to scan and search DNA through technology. I wouldn't doubt it. A lot of you guys don't know, but like their black projects and complexes are super far in advance compared to what's on the public market. Matter of fact, the only things public that you guys even see or can get your hands on is outdated tech in their real world. It's all outdated. It's been outdated. What happens is once they mastermind and it becomes old and they get something new and better, then they give it to the public for commercial applications. And don't think whether it's AT&T, whatever, Motorola, DuPont, whatever, don't think that right now their best products are out. These are the good ones, not the best ones. The military and certain other complexes get the best stuff. John, I hear what you're saying, but that's what they want. That's what they want. They want us to be belligerents and combatants so that they can use certain things on us. We must learn to beat them at their own game. But I'll say this. If the moment arrives for what you're talking about, hey, each American will have to do what they have to do for their own personal safety, liberty, and way of life. So, guys, we are just about out of time, or time for me to relax because I have to work tomorrow. I got a full day, lots of consultations. So, and we're, well, within 10 seconds at 2 hours. So it's about where I wanted to be. Oh, John, they do way more than that under color of law. There's every crime out there. Somebody once told me the reason why they don't like you doing crime is because they don't like the competition. But you best believe, in some way, shape, form, cops, states, the government, they're all breaking every single rule out there. Period. Not all of them are bad. Not all cops, not all states, not all of the people who work for the state, not all of the government, not all of the people who work for the government. But wherever there's people, there is bound to be corruption. So we will see what the future holds. But I definitely want to thank each and every one of you guys for taking this time out of your Sunday night. I tried to get on here early so that I wouldn't drag it on until the, you know, till too late into your night. So I just want to get on, drop a little knowledge on the flock stuff, and then, you know, get out of your hair. Let's see, I think I had one or two last. Oh, one of the things I wanted to make note is that if the companies are paying flock to rent space on their property, flock is then getting paid. If flock is then selling images of me walking by, images of my car driving by, and that is used to then make the police officers some money, are they not then guilty of not paying us for our images and likeness, our copyrighted names, using I'm just asking questions. Just asking questions. And then if they then sell that information to the police, and the police, who are not a charity, so they are for profit, and they're making money, shouldn't we also be getting some type of return on investment from them? And then my other thing would be, if you go on Google and you don't want your image on there, you don't want your house on there. This is something I literally did. One of my people were like, "Oh, I'm going to stop by your house. I'll just Google your house." And I was like, "Okay." And they were like, "How come your house comes up as blurry and you can't see anything there?" I said, "Because I requested to have Google remove my house from there for my reasons." They're like, "I didn't know you could do that." I said, "Yep." So I'm just saying, if they're making money, we should be able to be recouping a check somewhere in there. And if we don't want our images or to be a part of the flock system, shouldn't we have the ability, because they're making money on it, to ask them to give us a, I don't know, a blind eye or a, you know, some kind of code that anytime our stuff passes up? Shouldn't I be able to take contact? Maybe I will. Maybe I'll contact Flock this week and I'll say, "Look, this is my private information and I will sue you if this pops up on any of your Flock systems. So if this pops up, I want it blurred or removed. I've got the same right to do that with Google. This is what it is." Now, if they were giving it away for free, that's one thing. But they're making money, a lot of money. And where people are making money with your name, your image, your likeness, your house, your vehicle, whatever else, Flock should pay us. That's it, guys. I see everybody thanking me in the comments. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, John. Thank you, Ben, Manuel, everybody else, Maverick, new account, my dog, hi, Jab63, Silent Walk, and everybody else in here, Lex, Rodney, Horse, Tony. Sorry if I didn't get to all of your questions and your thoughts. I'll do some more. Don't worry about it. I will definitely catch you guys later. Have a great night. Stay off the cameras as much as possible. And with that being said, guys, have a great night. Thank you. Enjoy yourselves. Stay healthy. Stay aware of things. And stay in the private as much as possible. Till next time, guys, it's the Bad Wolf shutting it out. Agent 32 is signing off. Codename the Bad Wolf, bringing the people what they want. Aren't we all, in fact, U.S. citizens and nationals at the same time? Are we Double agents? Are we all double agents within the matrix? Even if I was, and I'm not, but we all are, but not by choice. God bless America. God bless each and every one of you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for entertaining this wild, crazy man. I'll talk to you guys later. Wolf's out.